Walking down these empty streets, echoes of the past I meet, lost and wandering for so long, searching for where I belong. Sunrise breaking through the night, guiding me back to the light. Every step feels like a prayer, promises hang in the air. Come back home, heal your heart, where the love never parts. Come back home, find your peace. In this place, your pain will cease. Memories of laughter and tears, answers to my deepest fears. In these walls I find my truth, washing away the years. Ruth, oh, the road was long and rough, but my spirit's had enough. Here in the sanctuary, healing feels extraordinary. Come back home, heal your heart, where the love never parts. Come back home, find your peace. In this place, your pain will cease. Was long and rough, but my spirit's had enough. Here in the sanctuary, healing feels extraordinary. Come back home, heal your heart, where the love never parts. Come back home, find your peace. In this place, your pain will cease.
Dear brother, good morning. Good morning, my brother. Good morning. Hey, it's Friday. It's Friday, man. You made it another whole week. I love you. You had a tough time this week. Hey, it's all good, my man. It's all good. It's all good. You made it. You made it. You were strong, right? You survived, you stood up, and I'm proud of you. You know, were things better this week than they were before? You know, were things better this week? Were you better this week? You know, sometimes we wait for circumstances to change, man, and it's really us that needs to change. You know, things don't change around you till you change, man. And so, did you change this week? That's the question, man. We look for the better money, and we always look for better things, and there's nothing wrong with looking for better things. But know, man, that the greatest change that you can ever have is the one you make in your mind. It's when you decide, man. It's when you decide, this is how life is going for me. I don't think as men we know how much power we have over life. You know, power of life and death is in the tongue. We can speak well of ourselves. We can speak negative of ourselves. We can speak negative of our future, or we can speak positive of our future. I'm not talking about manifestation. I'm talking about man voice. I'm talking about the ability to use your man voice to create. That's what priests did. That's what priests would do. They would call Jubilee over their whole nation, and they would say, you know what? Every 50 years, he would stand up, and just because he said so, things would happen in the lives of the nation. And I think men still have that authority. We still have the authority of Jubilee in our lives, man, where we can stand up and decide, man, this is how life is going to go. See, the greatest enemy, man, the greatest enemy against men is to get you to not know your voice, not know your capability. Adam did it. right? God didn't change anything. The same way Adam looked up and said, this is going to be this, and naming this and naming that. Men still have that power. Men still have that power. You still have that power in the life of your wife, of your woman, of your girlfriend. Eve didn't have a name. She didn't know where she was. She didn't know who she was. Adam named her. Your name is Eve, mother of all. We still have the power to do that. Not that you'll go change your wife's physical name, but you have the power as a man to change her emotional status. That's the power of a man's voice. God gave you that. You don't have to earn that, but you do have to learn how to use it properly. God gave man the voice, the power to heal a thing by saying. That's what's in your voice, man. You keep on saying you're a failure and things ain't going to work out. Guess what? That's the power in your voice. Right? Just as much as I'm teaching you that you can use your power for negative, you also can use your power for positive. You can always use your power for negative. You have to understand the power of your voice. You got to understand it. God gave it to you. And when your wife is sad, man, do you know you can speak happiness in her life? When your children are down, do you know you can speak happiness in your children's life? Right? I'm not talking just spiritual mumbo jumbo. I'm talking about when Adam, the first man. See, people are so scared. They talk about the Bible. You get so scared of church and preachers and corruption that you don't understand the very power in understanding the concepts. The power of a concept of a man having that kind of authority where God has given him a voice to create things that weren't there before. Understand that, man. You are not just a dude to get your lunch together, man, and go to work and come home and deal with the BS. No. I need you to understand where you are. I need you to understand who you are, right? Some of you guys are on your way to work right now. You're not just going to work just to kick that 8 hours. Man, you're not just going to work to kick that 8 hours. You're going to work to be effective where you are. Take your manhood to work. Not just your lunch. Take your manhood to work today. Take your manhood to work. Not the tough guy that's ready to punch somebody in the face that's irritating you. I'm talking about take your man voice to work. What's that mean, Christian? What that means, my brothers in our great community, is when you go to work today, man, find a hurt and heal it. See somebody, another brother, he may be down. He may be struggling this week. He may be lost his old lady or money ain't right. Speak to him. Find out who you are by opening your mouth and not being normal. Let's talk, man. I'm getting used to this daggone thing. I talk heavy. I try to go light for the computer sometime, but I am who I am. I'm here to lift you up. You are not just the dude on your job. You're not just looking for another damn promotion. Do you know who you are? You're a man with man voice, that God gave you man voice to be able to change situations around you. You start doing that and money will start flowing. Your boss, don't worry about your boss giving you no more money. They got to go through HR. They got to beg, borrow, and steal to pay you. You want to get paid? Let God pay you. Do God's work at your job. Understand that. If you start understanding that kind of authority in your life, then you'll understand who you are as a man. No, they hired me. They're paying for a man to be in their presence. Yeah, that's the thing. You think that, no, they're not just paying. See, when you know who you are, you understand the power of your presence as a man. You understand what the worth of your presence is. Check out my other podcasts about presence, about the presence of a man. I think I did a morning show about the presence of a man, just your presence, the power of you showing up, the power of you saying something. That is the power that's within you as a man, bro. And so happy Friday, man. I'm glad you made it through this week. I'm glad you stood up, but I want you to know who you are. I want you to know who you are in your children's life. I want you to know who you are in your son's life. You're his hero. Speak up. Speak up. Speak up. Speak up. Right? You're a hero in your wife's life. Speak up. Everybody needs your words, man. That's why the enemy wants you to be silent. He wants you to be silent. Shut up. Go in your man cave and say, you know what? I don't care about none of this. We all been there. Where it seems like your voice don't matter. That's the trick. That's the trick against men, to make you feel like you don't matter so that you move on and don't embrace the power of your voice. That's the whole trick. And you got to understand, man, that you're more than just that. You're more. No, you have responsibility. You have an aura. You have something about you that can heal people around you. That's what you have in your life. That's what you're made of. I'm sorry I didn't get in all the welcomes and stuff. I ain't got time for that, but let me just do it. Here you go. Here go my 5 second. Welcome all my YouTube, my brothers in the YouTube community, in the Dear Brother podcast community. Welcome all my friends from Facebook that check out our Facebook page. Now remember, Facebook, I will not stay on Facebook. This probably will be my last week on Facebook. So make sure that if you enjoy this podcast, that you go to YouTube and you subscribe there and hit the notification so you can see when I come online. All right. This will be the last week. I'll be on maybe Monday will be the last. That's what I'll do. Monday will be my last time on Facebook. Make sure Facebook community, please go over to YouTube and subscribe there so you can be a part of our videos. Let's get into it today. And pretty much of my opening, man, I talked a little bit about where I'm going today and where I want to go today. Let me see who's in the room first. Let me see who's in the room. Eric, good morning, my brother. Oh, man, there's a lot of guys. All right, Facebook, YouTube. Okay, good, man. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into it just a little bit. Hey, man, also, while I'm teaching, man, before I get into it, put in the comments how you feeling today. How are you feeling today? How's your heart? How's your mind? How you feeling about yourself? Go in the comments. Tell me how you feeling about you today. You feeling strong? You feeling challenged? You feeling anxious? You feel empowered? Are you happy you made it to the end of the week? Are you worried? Put it in the comments, man. That's what this community is for. I built a community so men don't have to hide from each other. We got to hide from everything else. The pressures of life, the pressure of work, the pressure of family, man. This podcast is for men to be able to say, man, this is where I'm at. And either I can help you or a brother in our great community can help you. Put in the comments how you feeling today. For me, how am I feeling today? I'm feeling probably a little, it's like sunny with a chance of rain. I feel kind of happy, but I feel like, I don't know, not quite settled in my happiness. I don't know what's going on, but I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be with you. So you can still put in the chat, man, while I'm teaching, how you feeling today. That matters to me. That matters to me. All right, let's get into it. This is a heavy podcast today. I won't be able to finish this podcast today, but I want to get into it. I want to talk about the five points and the concerted effort to split couples and families. And it starts on social media. And some of you have seen the tapes and the clips, and I've watched YouTube, and I've seen the tape. The last 10 years has been a concerted effort to destroy families on YouTube. I think it's funded. I think it's people behind it that fund this to break up families. I believe that. I believe that if you can break up a family, we've seen it over time. We've seen it over history. If you can destroy a family, that way you can have evil ideas take over, right? Without a family, there's no structures. That means everybody has to then follow the structure of the system, of the government, of religious systems, of all these different things that destroy. When I say religious systems, I'm not talking about spiritual people that love God. I'm talking about systems that tear up families. And I can talk about that even in the church world. Right? I have enough Muslim friends to be able to talk about how religion, some of these things that been taught even in the Muslim world have torn apart families. Right. We have to be able to address these things. And I believe there's an effort. And I'm talking like this today, bro. I want you to listen to me as a man, because this morning I'm not looking to heal you. I'm looking to awaken you so you can really see what's going on. Right. I believe, number one, I've seen all these podcasts is their point. What they do is they start battles between women and men. Right, to the point where men hate the women and women hate the men. And there's all these negative thoughts about women and men. And now people hate each other. And when women hate each other and men hate them. And when you have this, you have a division and you have a divided family. And this is where I want to start today. In the Garden of Eden, I'm not asking you to believe the Bible. But there's principles in the Bible that I believe give us a picture of where we're going right now. In the Bible, I want to say this to the mountaintop. There was no church in the Garden of Eden, nor was there a president, nor was it a Senate, nor was there a House of Representatives, because the family is the strongest entity that ever existed. And I believe that it is the breakdown of the family that produce these systems that tell us that this is better than family or this is more efficient than family. The economy system should run through family. Kids should learn how to work money in family, right? All the things that we've given over to government in education and all these things, caring for our children, our mental health, we've turned it over to government and other entities. The family is the strongest entity, and that's why it's a fight against the family. I believe the fight against the family is spiritual, but I also believe that it's paid for to weaken society, so that we have to depend on people at the top that don't care about us, and we don't have people right in our genre or right in our space that we know cares about us. I want y'all to think about it. Growing up, y'all, I bet you most of y'all lived in a neighborhood. You lived in a neighborhood. You knew your neighbor. You knew the person next door. You knew the person up the block, right? When I grew up, it was Mr. Mo and Mr. Dave and Mr. Lee and Mr. Chris. It was all these couples and families on the block. And if I was outside of my mind and I was being disrespectful somewhere, being a bad kid, then any of those men could check me, right? But that is torn down. There's no communities anymore. That's when people knew each other, and you can go over your friend's house and, hey, we going over here and we doing this. The community is torn down. And I want y'all to pay attention to the fact that this is no accident. It's no accident. And now we see over the last 10 years, podcast after podcast, teaching this, not even teaching, but yeah, teaching through a negative principle. You know, you got the balloon pop people recently, where a man or a woman walks out and people automatically pop their balloons. Do you know what that does to somebody? That drives rejection based on how a person looks before you even know who they are. I want you to wake up today. I want you to wake up, and I want you to understand what's really happening. This stuff is not a joke. We laugh at it, but you see, you got to have discerning eyes to see what's going on in society, to see what's going on. The first effort to destroy the family is this idea of hyper independence, where you got now, especially in the black and brown community, and I believe it's affecting the black and brown community the most, but ultimately around the world, where you have families that are breaking up and you have families that people don't value family. Now, when I talk about family, I'm not just talking about the nuclear family, where a man stayed in the house and the wife and the kids. Sometimes that doesn't happen. But I remember when I first told my father when I was 20 something years old that I was getting a divorce. He told me, he looked at me, he grabbed me by both shoulders, and he said, son, no matter what happens between you and that woman, don't you ever leave those kids. Why was he saying that? He was saying that because my grandfather left the family when my father was 3 years old, and he was down the street taking care of another family while my father's family was trying to figure out how to eat. He was down the street at the bar eating steak. So that drove him to say, son, no matter what happens in your marriage, take care of those children, because that still preserves family, right? So there are men out here right now, you're divorced, you moved on. I'm not saying that you got to get back with your ex. What I'm saying is make sure that you respect your ex, number one, because she is the mother of your children, right? Number two, that respect pours over onto the kids. And even though you're not together, you still have what is called family. And for some of you women that are out here, this concerted effort, don't buy into this social media lie. Don't buy into this game that's being played on social media, where now you're saying, I don't need no man, or you're trying to hold your children from the man. All that is a game that the Satan has been playing since the Garden of Eden. Do y'all remember when Eve was out there doing her thing? Adam was working, and Eve got into a conversation with the serpent. The serpent convinced her otherwise, that her authority wasn't in herself. She needed something extra. And what did she do? She took that fruit back to her house, right? She took that fruit back to her house. Did she destroy the house? No, because I know a lot of people like to say that the woman was the reason for the destruction of the earth. She wasn't the reason for the destruction of the earth. Adam shouldn't have took the fruit, but we can't ignore that Eve brought the fruit to the house. And I'm saying today, that same evil fruit that's in the Garden of Eden that Eve brought to the house, I believe that social media is putting that fruit back into the hands of women and back into the mouths of men, where now we hate each other. And that's the goal, because if men and women hate each other, then that means nobody's raising these children with any kind of authority, wisdom, knowledge, or understanding. So the first thing that the internet and social media and these podcasts have been promoting is hyper individualism. I'm hyper independent, especially amongst black men and women. Well, I don't need you, right? We emphasize the self-reliance, right? And we do too, men, right? We love to see, again, the battle is to pit us against each other. And we didn't start this fight. I believe this fight was funded. Why do you think these people get so much money behind these podcasts? They get so much money behind these writings. It is because it is the same game Satan has been playing since the Garden of Eden. Destroy the family, because the family is the strongest entity that could ever be made. And that's the game. If I can get men to say, I don't need no woman, right? I don't need no woman. I don't need that nonsense. I've said it. I've gotten frustrated dating and saying, I don't need this nonsense, right? But that's the game. That's what's being pushed. If you need a woman, bro, just as much as a woman needs you. In fact, if we really think about it, there's something missing in a man. Why do you think in the Garden of Eden, God took something from Adam to make a woman? You don't need every woman, but you need the one for you. God took something from Adam to make a woman for him. That means he was missing something. And when God gave Eve back to him, then he realized, God, I was missing something. And what was she missing? She was missing something. When they came together, it was a puzzle. Now social media is pushing this concept to men, especially, that we don't need nobody. That's why you have this concept of the passport bros. I'm going over to get my passport and I'm leaving my family. I'm going to go get this woman that looks exotic. I want to expose this game that's playing, because it's an enemy game. It is an enemy game that's making men and husbands feel like there's always something better out there. There's a game that's making women feel like there's always something better out there, or what's better out there is her being single without a man. The most dangerous thing in the world is for a woman to sit with no direction, no man voice in her life. And whether it's a romantic relationship, a father, an uncle, a grandfather, women need the voice of a man. And the society now, especially on social media, is trying to make her believe she does not need it, and trying to make men believe that you don't need the softness of a woman's voice that can handle your temperament when you're off. That's the power of a woman. She knows how to calm you. She knows how to drive you when you're feeling down, and she knows how to calm you when you're too up. You can't do that. That's a gifting in women that men don't have. It's a gifting in men that women don't have. It's the coming together that makes strong power. So for some of you that are struggling in your relationship right now, and you've been beefing with your wife, calm down for a second. See where you went wrong. See what's going on. That's what men do. Don't sit back and say, oh, well, she better come to me and apologize like you some king. No, you're not a king. You're a leader. And in the leader's mind, at some point, you have to come and say, you know what went wrong here? Why? Because I'm not more mad at you than I am at the erosion of the family. That's the mindset you got to have as a man. And we as men have to stand up and fight this battle that technology is becoming an enemy to the family. It's becoming an enemy to your children. Anytime certain apps and things have been sued and had to admit that their agenda was to break down young girls, and now you got young girls throwing up in toilets and putting their fingers down their throat to throw up to lose weight so they can look like some image. You mean to tell me it's not the responsibility of men and fathers to protect their daughters and sons from this game? And it's hard to protect our daughters and sons from this game because we're caught up in it, hating each other all at the same time. Let me see what we got in the chat. All right, let me see. Let me slow down. Let me look. Let me talk. Let me take a break from talking. Yes, change is going to come. Yes, sir. Joey Smith, good morning, my brother. I'm glad you're here. Feeling defeated, man. I'm aware that this too shall pass, but today I'm scrambled. What's going on, Joe? Joey, if you're still in the room, talk to me, man. I'm sorry that I'm just getting back to you to the comment. But Joe, I want to take a little time. Why you feeling defeated, man? What's on your heart? If you're still in the room, Joe, go back in the comments and let me know how you feel. I'm gonna go back to teaching, but what I'm teaching ain't more important than being with you guys and speaking into your lives. So Joey, if you still on, man, jump back on, my brother, and share your comment. All right, share your comment. What's going on? What's the defeated feeling? So we can surround you with love, my man. All right. Number one was hyper individualism. I don't need a woman. Woman don't need a man. This and that. Right. Number two, highlighting toxic gender stereotypes. The perpetuation of harmful gender stereotypes, especially in the poor communities, portraying men as emotionally unavailable, unfaithful, right? Men ain't this, men ain't that. Some of you brothers, you've been hearing that all your life since you were a kid. Before you knew there was any beef between men and women, you've been hearing what men ain't worth and what women ain't worth, in the constant beef. Right? What that does is it destroys families. And some of you know what it is to come from a destroyed family, right? You know what it is to come from a destroyed family that's stuck, family that seems like they can't get it. It's the toxic gender stereotypes where women believe men ain't nothing before they're even 10 and 12 years old. They've been taught that men ain't worth nothing. Come on, peep this. And the problem with most women that teach men, a woman can't teach a woman about men because her testimony of men only comes from her experience with men. It's not the actual all men, right? And so we got to see these toxic traits that's tearing up families. You got girls that's 14, you 14, and you already hate men. You got to see that this is coming from a deeper place. This is a deeper challenge. It's a deeper challenge. And the reason, well, Christian, why are you telling us? I'm telling you because the only people qualified to stop this or come to battle with it are men, integral men that realize the trick that's against the family. It's against our sons. Look at it. Look at it now. This new generation of kids, 18, 19, 16, 20, they don't even have love music anymore. Think about it. I'm trying to open your eyes today, man. Think about it. They don't even have love music anymore. Everything's about Xing, right? I'm not saying a word. I don't think social media likes that. Everything's about Xing. Everything's about ucking. Everything's about disrespect, how many women you can have, right? They hoes and they bees and they this and they that. Do you realize the society that's being driven by social media, right? You got all these lies being pushed and you got whole generations of people against each other. I believe wholeheartedly, my brothers, that this is being paid for, man. If anytime you're wiping out generations of people with dirty mindsets that's keeping each other, in the scripture says it, that you got to turn the heart of the father back to the children, and you got to turn the heart of the children back to the father. Why are you saying this, Christian? I'm saying this because, again, and I'll push it for the rest of my life. I don't care who likes it and who hates it. The Garden of Eden did not have a church. It did not have a spiritual house. It did not have a government. It did not have a president. It did not have a Senate. It did not have a House of Representatives, because the strongest entity then and the strongest entity now is the family. And that's why in government and social media, they're trying to tear down the relationship between men and women. And it's not just the black community. It's specifically the black kid. They're working specifically with the black community because it's always been like that, to tear down the black and brown community. But don't believe that the war against family is just against black people. The war against family is everybody. It's not just in the impoverished communities either, because the goal is now, okay, you can have money, but you let your wife know. I've heard this on social media. Rich men, wealthy, powerful men will never be with one woman. I've watched these things. I've watched these podcasts. I look back and I drop my head back and say, wow, look at the destruction, because that's the goal. This thing is spiritual. Right? We wrestle not against flesh and blood. I wish people really understand that, man. I'm not talking about whether you're going what church you go. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about spiritual people that can see beyond the veil of what's going on in our world. And I believe the greatest attack now against our world is the attack on the family, to make men see that they have no value in the house, to make women believe men have no value in the house. If the woman don't believe the man has value in the house, then she will teach the children that the man has no value in the house. And if the man has no value in the house can't be protected. Do you see how spiritual this is? It's spiritual. It's spiritual to have funding and media behind podcasts and TV shows and movies that destroy the value of the family. And the only soldiers that can stand up against this is well put together men that realize that unity is the key. Unity of the family, unity of the mind. That's what we need to combat the enemy that's against our world. I'm not just on here just shooting the crap. I'm on here trying to raise up an army of men that can get beyond our little money problems, and get beyond our attitude problems, get beyond the damn NFL and the NBA, and not be so blinded by the playoffs and men that have millions while you struggling to get $2, while your family is falling apart, but you spending a Sunday celebrating men and giving money to them so they can raise theirs, while you sit there and try to figure out how to get one chicken wing for your family. Don't you see how distracted we are? Don't you see it? Don't you see it as men, how distracted we are, and how the internet is helping us be distracted? How in the world you gonna hate the woman in your house? You can't hate her. If you hate the mother, how do you love your daughter? You got to understand, man, it's a concerted effort to break the family apart. And you got to be the hero of your family. You got to be the hero. You got to go to your son and sit down with your son. And this is another thing as fathers. Sit down with your kids. Number one, apologize when you know you hurt them. Apologize when you know you wronged your children. If you got too much pride to apologize to your children, you're not a builder. You're not a builder. You're a weak man. If you can't apologize to your old lady, when I say old lady, it's just my talk. If you can't apologize to your wife or your children, when you know you've been too wrong or too rough or said the wrong word, you are not a man. You are less than a man, because a man builds even if he got to break himself to build. Huh? See, and the reason I love this, man, because it's a podcast for men by men. I'm not on here trying to throw men under the bus to some women. I also see that in social media, where you got men who will start a whole podcast just to down men in the eyes of women, just so they could build a following. Do you see the game that's being played? Do you see that people are getting paid? Effort is going into weakening the house. Why do you think that is? Because the family is the strongest entity in the world. Look at some of the richest families. They're family. It wasn't a business. It was a family. It was a family. And the goal is so we get in hyper independence. I don't need you. Number two, toxic stereotypes. Men ain't nothing. Men ain't worth nothing. I say this often. Growing up, as little boys, we don't hear women ain't worth this, women ain't worth that, women ain't worth. We don't hear that. In fact, most of the times when you grow up, you have this image of women and women are perfect. But think about that. From the time little girls, they already hearing that men ain't worth it and your father wasn't this and your uncles ain't this. Do you see the attitude that's being pushed? By the time she hears that from her mothers, her grandmothers, and her aunts, and then she gets on social media and starts also being pushed on how men ain't this, and this how you use a man, this how you break a man. The only person who ever wrote a book on how to break a man was a slave master. And now you see that being pushed through the black female community on how to break a man. I'm not blaming black women. I'm trying to open their mind to see that the same book they're following was written by a racist on how to break a man. And the goal for the black man is for us to get so pissed off about what's going on that then our woman becomes our enemy instead of our ally. And if I leave her with the babies and I leave her on her own and I go live my life, then the government can have his way with my wife, and the social media can have this way with my kids. Do you understand the separation? Wake up, men. Wake up, men. Hug your wife like you ain't hugged her in 10 years. Hug your girlfriend like you ain't hugged it in 10 years. Hug your kids like you ain't hugged them in 10 years. Put a damn plan together to put things together and take care of them just in case this world fall apart. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? I need you to hear what I'm saying. That's why I started this podcast, man, because I'm starting a movement of men where we can heal men globally. And after we heal men globally, then we can move on and build society again. Not for race, not for black and white, because this game is being played on everybody. That's another game that's being played. Let me hate the white man. Let me hate the Chinese man. Let me hate them. Let me hate the black man. That's the goal. My goal is to get white, black, Asian, Hispanic, everybody in one space together to realize the power of manhood is not black or white or Asian or Cambodian or Chinese. It's the power of man voice. And when men get together, if one man has man voice, how much voice do 1,000 men have of different shades of colors? And then we will look at the political system and they'll look back at us and say, maybe we can't play this Democrat Republican game. Maybe we got to do something for society, because finally men rose up and stopped getting played by social media and news stations. It's a concerted effort to break the family. It's a concerted effort to make you feel like you don't need nobody as a man. It's a concerted effort to make you run in your man cave and talk to yourself, but not your family. It's a concerted effort. That's why they sell us all these TVs and this, and they push the man cave, push the man cave, push the man cave. I want y'all to see through this, man. I know somebody will call me crazy. I don't care. I suffer too much. My voice is too big. I'm going to share it with the world. But that's why they push this man cave. Go in here with this TV and these leather couches. I'm not saying nothing wrong with a man cave, but I want you to look at the deeper spiritual implication, where what they're pushing to men and women today is escapism. You go to your man cave and don't care about her, right? She live her soft life over there and she don't care about you. Yeah. That's why you got to pay attention to what's being taught to society. They're teaching women about this soft life, where I stay away from all drama and I just stay over here and I live this soft life and I don't want to. There's no way you can build a society and relationship having no conflict. The better lessons to teach women how to deal with conflict instead of a soft life that makes them stay away from conflict. The better thing is to teach men how to have man voice without having destructive voice, right? So we can raise the society and still stay with our women. That's the goal. Oh boy. Oh man. Let me see who's in the chat. Good morning, my brother. Let's go. It's Friday. Ron McGee, Anthony Garbut. Hey. All right, Joey, you back. Let's talk. Let me see, Joey. Just trying to balance life, constantly being in daddy mode, trying to find time to be a creative and which serves me and my family, trying to find a way to keep my own cup runneth, but also realizing that I've done what I've done to get to where I am won't take me to where I'm trying to get. To summarize, going through growing pains, brother. All right. Let's take a pause for the calls, man. All right, Joey. First of all, my man, I want to clap you up. I want to clap Joey up. If you're in the comment section, go in there. Just throw a strong word at Joey, man. Whatever come to your heart. Joey Smith, he's in the comment section right now. Speak to him, man. Say something to him. Lift up his heart. Just trying to balance life. Okay, Joe, I want to say this to you, bro. There's no such thing as balance in life. I was going to do a podcast on this. I didn't get to it yet. There's no such thing as work-life balance, right? It's a BS concept that we've sold people. People have sold books and everything. I was about to say CDs and tapes. They don't exist no more. But people have sold all kinds of everything, courses and everything on work-life balance. I'm going to tell you there's no such thing as work-life balance, okay? Listen, it's the same way. Think about it this way. The same way when you go to the bank, if you make no deposit, you can make no withdrawal. Life is no different, Joey. Life is no different. And when you're trying to live a balanced life, that means I'm trying to take this little energy I got, this $100 bills. Think about it. You got $100 and you got 5 different accounts. And you got $100 to spread on each of these accounts. What it doesn't make sense. Why? Because it's so spread out and it's not significant. You're not giving significant value any particular place. What you got to do is you have to self-invest to be able to have the strength to then reinvest in all these other places. There's no such thing as work-life balance. The rule is to invest in yourself so you have enough to do everything else. That's the goal. Oh, to have a split apart. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do one thing. I got to invest in myself. I have to center myself. I have to decide who I am. I have to admit what I have, admit how much I have, admit what I don't have, admit how much I don't have. I got to be willing to admit where I am and what I don't have. Right. So balance is no such thing as balance. You have to completely self-invest. Now, here's your next thing. Constantly being in daddy mode. Yes. See, as fathers, I'm a dad. I know some of you guys in the chat, put in there. If you're a dad, let me see. I'm a dad, but in the chat. So I know I'm talking to some dads out here. In daddy mode. Here's daddy mode. Now we think, here we go. We say, okay, I'm a father. I got to put all this investment in my child. Okay. Yes, you're right. But think about it this way. Number one, you're raising your children to leave. You're not raising your children to stay. You're preparing from the time your kid is a little baby all the way up. You're preparing them to leave. So you're preparing them for where they're going. The only way to prepare them for where they're going, rightfully so they have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from you, is for you, again, to be self-centered. You got to teach them how to deal with the world so they're not scattered when they go out there. Right? You have to learn the lesson as men, as fathers. We have to learn the lesson of self-investment so we can teach our children the same thing. Because remember, they're about to get thrown out in the same world we're in now, that the whole goal is to have everybody like this until you have a heart attack. Right? Till you get sick, till you get cancer. Boom, until you're gone. The greatest thing we can do as fathers is grab a hold of ourselves. Forget this balance stuff. Full investment in yourself so you have enough to give everywhere else. I'm trying to find some time to be a creative and which serves me. See, this is the thing. And I feel you, Joey, because I pastored, I traveled the world, I spoke and this and that. That's our craft, right? Do you know one of the myths, especially in this religious world, is doing stuff in pain or doing it broken, or my greatest things come when I was broken. That's BS. That's a lie. The greatest thing you could do as a leader, as a father, the greatest thing you can have is to do it from a happy heart, right? That's the myth, though. Man, even in the world, in the secular world, I wrote this song out of my worst pain. No, imagine how good that song would be if it came from a happy heart. See, we got to learn that our creative nature flows when we're happy. It flows when we're fully invested. It flows when we're invested in family. It flows when we're invested in ourselves. You open up your creativity by creating a peaceful environment for yourself where your creativity can flow. The kids become a product. Let's see, Anthony Ritz. Good morning, my brother. The kids become a product of their environment. Yes, they do. They know nothing else and don't have mental capability to think for themselves at a young age. It takes a village. Yes. But guess who got to lead that village? Brother Ritz, guess who got to lead that village? Men, because of our balanced approach. I agree with you, bro. It's because it does take a village, but that village needs to be led by men. It does. And there's no dishonor for women. Because even a woman needs the leader. And any real woman would admit that when she's broken and can't take no more, she needs a shoulder or a chest to lay on. She needs a place to voice her heart. Yesterday, my lady was going through something crazy during the day. And at the end of her work day, she came and said, hey, can you take a ride with me to the store? I'm thinking, hey, we just going to ride to the store. We get in the car and she just busts out with all the stuff. She needed me. You understand? As strong as she is, women still need a place. Your kids need a place. Yes, your kids need a village, right? Your wife needs a village, but you're the head of that village. Good stuff, Anthony Rist. Thanks for sharing. Ron McGee, this effort has been so systematic and gradual. Yes, brother. That people can't even see it. Yes, that's why I'm on here turning up on it, man. They've turned up the dial, yes, on escapism and divisiveness ever so slightly over time. And now we're here. Yes, and that's why I'm going to war with it. Let me see. All right, Ron got some great words for Joey. Good stuff. Joey, control what you can, brother. Be intentional about being happy intrinsically. Take your moments for you. Yes. Yep. Yeah, dads out there, Everett, man, 100%. Yes, brother Rich, 100%. Yes, I'm a dad too, man. And I'm going to tell you, we got to lead our village. It's not going to be your queen to lead the village, bro. It's going to be you. It's man voice. I want y'all to understand. I've been talking about this for 2 days. There's a reason. It's man voice. It's really understanding the authority that you have to change the situation, right? That's why the enemy wants you to be quiet. That's why he wants you to be frustrated. That's why he wants you to go in that damn man cave and turn on the game and crack a beer and not care, because that's the trick. The trick is to go in there and shut the world off. But that's because the world needs your voice. What's the world? The world is not all these countries. The world is your family. Everybody in your house is a world. Your wife is a world. She has a world, right? Speak to her world. Speak to your children. They all have something to influence out the house. It is your responsibility to speak to them. Today is my son's 20th birthday, man. And early this morning, man, what I did, a happy birthday, kid, just in case you watch Dad's podcast. He probably think I'm corny, so he don't watch my podcast. But happy birthday, son. Happy 20th, man. I wrote some words for him early this morning, man, just to speak into his life. You got to speak into their lives, man. You got to speak. You got to use that man voice. And don't think you don't know enough, or don't think they don't want to listen to you. Understand this. No kid is going to give you the image of I'm listening. But kids listen, they absorb, they hold on to your words. Your words mean a whole bunch. It's your birthday today too, Rich. Happy birthday, my brother, Anthony Rich. Clap it up. Happy 40th, my man. I remember my 40th birthday. It was one of the saddest times of my life, man. But not for you, Rich. Happy birthday, my brother. Happy birthday, man. Let me jump back into these notes right quick, guys. But yes, Ron. Yes, Ron. It's a concerted effort, man. It's a concerted effort. Y'all heard of the soft life of the women that had passport bros, right? All these narratives, right? Because this is what happens. Let me go. I spoke to number one, number two, number three. This social media effort, it exploits the relationship conflicts for entertainment. That's what it does. Think about it. People are getting millions of views, millions of followers, millions because of conflict. You say some nonsense about relationship, it's creating entertainment. Look at reality shows. And reality shows, I remember, I think the first one ever was The Real World when I was like a 12 or 13. And what did you see on there? You saw women and men cussing each other out, throwing glasses. You hear me? And these were our white brothers and sisters on these first reality shows. This is why I'm trying to tell you, it's not just about race. It's not just about race. It's the destruction of relationship. It's to create toxic relationship. It's to make people hate each other. And it pushes this narrative and the whole goal. That's why I believe it's a concerted effort. It's a paid for effort. Because what does it do? Look at it. Look what it's doing around the world. You don't have any pockets of influence anywhere. Everybody's looking toward leadership. And I'm going to tell you right now, and this burdens me the most. And my prayer is that I'll be one of these people. Honest to God, I've been praying. Because look in the 60s and the 70s, brothers. Look back in the 60s and the 70s, man, where you had leaders. You had voices, you had world leaders who, and I ain't talking about politicians, I'm talking about world leaders. I'm talking about the Malcolms, the Martins. I'm talking about one of my favorite people, the Mother Teresa's. I'm talking about the Marcus Garveys, and I'm talking about these great philosophers, right? I'm talking about great thinkers. I'm talking about great writers. I'm talking about great poets. I'm talking about leaders, people who can come out and speak to the nation and their voice mattered. We don't have that anymore. You know why? Because again, this concerted effort to weaken the voice of men, to make you feel like you have no authority. That's the goal of society, man. You got to speak up. But look what's happening with nobody speaking up. Look at it. Look at what we see in government. I look at it every day. I pay attention to everything. This is why I can talk like I talk. I study everything. Look at society now. Look at the people that get away with crimes that we could never get away with as men. I ain't talking about just black men. Where's the voice of us that will stand up and say, hold up? But there is no voice no more, right? They're making the voice of men scared. Either the goal now is to either make a man scared to say something or pay a man not to say something. I'm gonna share something with y'all. Y'all my community, y'all my brothers. I'm gonna share something with y'all. The other day, maybe what's today? Friday, maybe Wednesday. I woke up and I was led straight to the scripture that was a command to stay loyal to original intent. Stay loyal. And when I read it, it was like, man, what is that saying to me? And I got a feeling that a major door is going to open for this voice to speak to people, right? I've been doing this all my life. And I think a major door is going to open for me to speak to people. And the seduction is going to be to sell out my voice. Sell out my voice for what's popular, or sell out my voice for a few coins that I've never seen before. This is why you need people now. This is why you need people now to stay loyal. You need people to stay loyal to the original intent. Stay loyal to your original intent, brother. The man you said you were going to be, stay loyal to him. Right? This is why I always go back to my book, right? It's home. This is when you were loyal to you. Home. When you were most healed. Home. That's when you were tight. That's when things were together. Right? So that's what the enemy wants to keep you away from. And that's why this concerted effort in social media is to tear up the family. Right? They are entertained. They're entertained by seeing women throw glass at men. They're entertained. And we're all watching it. Again, I'm going to go back to that balloon show. Right? We laugh at it. Ha, ha, ha. They bust all the balloons when the guy or the girl worked out there. Do you know what that is? You're putting rejection on TV. And then you're putting a person in a position where they have to explain why they rejected this person. Most time it's for image issues. Oh, I didn't like your shoes, or your shirt was too baggy. Do you see the society we're growing? A materialistic society that has no eyes for the soul. Come on, man. Let me take a commercial break right quick. This is my commercial break. My commercial break is I want you right now to go to my website, christianwinters.com. Go in the services section, and I want you to sign up right now for my table of 12 starting October 14th. For 1 month, once a week, probably a Saturday morning, I'll be meeting with these 12 men. We'll be looking at your purpose. We'll be reshaping where you're going in life. We'll be looking at what you want to do. We'll be sitting around together, talking about how do we launch our lives? How do we launch our passion projects? What do we do in our community? 12 men. I'm going to personally mentor 12 men for 1 month. It costs you nothing. It's free. Go on my website right now, christianwinters.com, christianwinters.com. Go on my website and register for the table of giants. The table of giants. I'll be doing it once a month, right? We'll fill that up with 12, and then we'll have a waiting list. But to get on there right now, okay, I still think we have a few seats left in that 12. christianwinters.com. Go on there right now. Sign up for the table of 12 giants, okay? Put your information in there, lock your seat in, okay, so you can be in the next one. Let's see what the comments, let me see what's in the comments. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this right quick. Let's talk about this. Does anybody y'all ever heard of this passport bros thing? Put in a comment how you what is that to you? Or, you know, I think it's just brothers just saying, look, I'm going to another country. I'm going to separate and I'm going to grab this woman. What do you guys think about that? If you've been on social media and you see this whole thing, how do you feel? Let me go in the comments, man. You guys tell me how you feel about what you've been seeing in social media as far as the breakdown of relationship. And even some points you may agree with. There's some things I see on some of these shows I agree with, but then there's things I see where ultimately we keep on driving these points. We drive relationships apart. So if you can type down, if you're not driving or something like that, tell me some of the things you've seen on social media that have disturbed you, or some things you see where the breakdown of relationship happens. Go in the comments and share that. But there's a rise online, man, that contribute to the division of relationship, right? The trends, this is the problem. The trends, they again, like Ron was saying earlier, these trends of passport bro and soft life woman, all they do is promote escapism, right? With women that are seeking an easier, stress-free life. And there's no such thing as an easier, stress-free life, right? There's no such thing. There's no such thing as I'm going to go to another country and grab a woman that doesn't speak my language, right? Just so, for what? What are you looking for, right? It's a concerted effort to break us apart. Let me see what's in the chat. Passport bros are a bunch of who have no man voice. Dang, Joey came straight for Passport bros are a bunch of simps who have no man voice nor stand power. Dang, tell me more, man. Okay. Let's define. Okay. Joey and anybody else. Let's define what a simp is. What is a simp? What exactly is a simp? What's a simp, Joey? Talk to me, bro. Talk to me. Anybody else? Anthony, anybody else in the chat? Talk to me. What's a simp? What is that? Where do we get that from? Let's define that. Let's see how men became that. Let's talk about that before we go this morning. Man, we almost end up, we 5 minutes away from an hour. Y'all be having me on here bugging. What's a simp? Is a simp a man who just breaks down? To what does he break down to? Who is he? What is a simp? What is a man that's a simp? What does he look like? What does his behavior look like? Passport bros. Right? I'm gonna go find something that's not before me, right? I believe some of the passport bro mindset is I don't want to deal with myself. That's why I'm getting a passport. I think a lot of those brothers, they don't want to deal with themselves. Right? They don't want to look at their own weaknesses. They don't want to look at their own problems and say, man, what's my problem? They don't want to look at the pattern of their own failure in relationship. So they think somehow getting a ticket and flying to another part of the world is going to somehow give them a pass on who they've been before. Now, if you're a clown, you're a clown. If you're less than a man, you're less than a man. You can go to 7 different countries. You're just less than a man. Right. And see, the thing is, women really want, if you really get grown and you really mature, women want authority in their life. They want consistent authority and they want genuine authority, not tough, rough man authority. They want genuine authority where they can really lean into a man and believe in him. Let me see. We got in the chat. All right. Ron McGee. So much is done to emasculate the man. Yes. It becomes funny to call me sassy or simps. Yes. It's almost impossible for men to just enjoy life. We're also in a pause society. Yes. Oh, it drives me crazy. Can't even eat a damn hot dog. Yes. Can't smoke a hookah. Yes. Some people say men should do podcasts. So much energy is put into what men can't do. Yes. And say, yes, Ron. Yes. You see, the thing is, and you know what that war is? That war to emasculate men. You know what that is? It's a war to keep men in a place where we are not vulnerable. Right? You sassy if you say how you feel. You see, Ron, I'm so grateful for you, brother, because you see what I see. You see the bigger spiritual implication. That's men have spiritual eyes, bro. Right? You know, and that's another game. I will talk about that later at another time. But in our hip hop communities and all these music communities, it's all about that money. It's never about spiritual insight. It's not about the ability to see as manhood. It's about what you have. Right? We don't teach men that it's who you are that makes you a man. Society teaches men that is what you have that makes you a man. You know, that's why I was glad. Yesterday, I took a ride. Y'all might have saw my video. I took a ride. I was going to the doctor yesterday and just following the address. And I find out I'm pulling in. I'm saying, whoa, this looks familiar. The address for my doctor I pulled in was the same parking lot I slept in when I was homeless. And when I got to that parking lot, you know, sometimes you say, oh, you know, people look at something that they used to go through or look at something very hard and they say, Dad, thank God I'm not there anymore. Man, when I pulled into that parking lot, go on my YouTube page. I put up about a 7-minute video. I showed where I slept at when I was homeless and things like that. But when I went, I thought I was going to be like either sad or like just grateful that I wasn't there anymore. And you know what I did? I was so happy. I said, how do I feel? I was happy. I was happy that I had experienced the loss of everything. Honest to God, brothers, I was so excited that I had that experience. I was honored to be able to remember sitting back in that car and saying, you know what? How am I going to learn here? I remember saying that. I was so thankful I took that loss, right? Because that's when I found my manhood, right? And you're right, Ron. Expression is not sassy, right? Right? It's almost or just like, let me see, because I'm gonna come back to Joey, and I'm gonna come back to you, Ron. A simp is someone who is simple minded. Yes, plenty of people like that can't see no further than what's in front of them. I agree. Simp and women who want to live a soft life are a group of people who don't understand it's easier to fool a people than it is to convince them that they're being fooled. Very good thinking, bro. Very good thinking. Now, the reason I paused is because I was looking at both comments, and you're right, Ron. And that simp mentality, I believe, Joey, I believe your definition about a person who's simple-minded is too many simple-minded men, again, that can't see further. Jesus, Joey, you freaking said it, man. Brilliant. Thank you. Yes, in Ron's thing, I think that we also call men simps. This is the thing. There's also the man who apologizes, right? I think society now calls him a simp. It's way different than Joey's definition, right? The man who's vulnerable, the man who can sit there and express himself and a tear comes out his eye knowing he must change something about his heart. He's not a simp. He's a man. But see how that's the thing. Everything's twisted now. The only way to untwist this is to have men raise up and untwist it. It's our job, man. It's not the job of children. It's not the job of our women. It's not the job of these fake politicians. They don't want to untwist anything. The goal of the politicians is to keep everything twisted so they can seem necessary. I'm going to say this, man. I'm not scared to say this, bro. And again, I'm a spiritual man, so I don't care about none of it. When you're spiritual, you realize none of this stuff is real. All this stuff in front of us is all distraction. But if you believe that the guy on that side cares about changing society, or you believe the woman on this side cares about changing society, wake up, bro. When have those people at the top ever changed society? But you can find various men who change society without the platform of politics. Men that found man voice to touch their part of the world. Understand, as men, not all of us got to touch society as a whole. You can touch your neighborhood. You can touch your block. Damn it, you can change your house. You can just mentor your cousins, or you can change a whole nation. But nobody's bigger than the rest. Man voice, that voice you have is a sign of where you are. And I want you to start using your voice and believing in your voice. Let me get back to Ron's comment. There's some more greatness in here. It's almost impossible for men to just enjoy life. It is. We're also in a pause society. Yes, I can't stand it. Especially when I see older men my age still saying pause. You can't even have a conversation without saying pause. It's so ridiculous, and it's so weak-minded to take on the language. You realize every other year they're giving us different language to talk in. One of the weakest things for me is to see grown men change their lingo because it was in a rap song, or change how you talk or things you say, because it's weakness. It's weakness, and it's being driven by social media. Man, I might get kicked off of YouTube about one of my least watched videos. One of my least watched videos. I got another podcast called The Christian Activist. One of my least watched videos is when I talked about how technology is the beast, right? We're looking for the everybody's looking, there's all this talk about the Antichrist. I don't believe the Antichrist is a man. I believe Antichrist is a machine. It's AI that man is going to feed. Yeah. Every time we pop something in that AI, it's building a mind. I believe that's what's going to ultimately take us over, because we'll start believing in that, and we'll start asking AI more than we ask God. We're in a spiritual battle, my brother. And when I'm talking about spiritual, I ain't talking about whether you go to the masjid or the church or the synagogue, or whether you are African, whatever, or black Israelite, bro. Wake up. This thing is about God and is big. And as a man, you got to disconnect yourself from systems that won't let you see where God is. Because in the garden, there was no denomination. There was no church building. There was no mosque. There was no synagogue. There was a man. That's all it was. And that's why we got to get men back to being men. And what's a man? A man is a spiritual being that's connected to God and distracted from things that keep him from being himself. That's a man. That's a man. Yes. All right, gentlemen. My goodness. We in 1 hour and 4 minutes, man. Let me see. All right, let's go to the advice. Anybody need any advice about anything before you head into your weekend? Anybody need any advice about anything before you head into your weekend? Shoot me a chat. Any advice, man? Anything you're going through? Let me see. All right, Joey. I've been speaking on digital divide since 2016. Our people are taught these devices are used for entertainment, social media. Other groups are taught to use these devices as tools and to make money. Hence, controversial marketing is free marketing. Yes, you're right, brother. That's why they promote controversy so much. We promote it for free and they get paid. And most times it's about things that don't serve nor help our lives in no way, shape, or form. Yes, it's what we've been talking about, Joey. But those last 2 videos I did, those other morning shows, distraction. Thank God for your voice, man. The digital since 2016. Yes, sir. People are taught. These devices are taught. Yes, entertainment. We're laughing at ourselves. We're being laughed right into weakness. We're being laughed right into weakness. Do you know, again, if you guys need advice, dear brother, the advice, relationship advice, how to get to the next level advice, anywhere you're stuck mentally, let me help you, bro. Let me help you. You got time right now to put it in the chat. Right. And I will help you. OK, I will help you. I will help all of us, man. And you'll help me, too. OK. But yeah, Joey, these devices. Yes. Entertainment. But yes, other groups are being. Yes. Now, listen, I was teaching when I was a school teacher. I was teaching 6th, 7th, 8th grade history and Bible back in 2022. And I told the kids one day, I said, how many of y'all have TikTok? They all raised their hand. Yeah, we got TikTok. I said, do y'all know that the Chinese TikTok doesn't look like American TikTok? They was like, what, Mr. Wonders? I say, yeah. They use TikTok, and when you go on their TikTok, it's families and it's moms and it's students and it's people building lives. I said, the people who made that app made sure that the algorithm for other countries is not that. So our kids are shaking their behinds and we're doing drug deals and we're doing stupid stuff, falling off of stuff, breaking legs. We're doing all kinds of challenges and all kinds of foolishness. And we don't even realize that these same people are making sure that their app is not feeding their community the same thing as feeding our community. Yes, it's a game. Yes, it's a game. And that's why I'm here to wake up men. That's why I'm here to wake up men. Y'all don't even never hear me say like, share, subscribe, and all that, man. I'm more about just raising men organically, man. I'm not on here to be a star, but damn it, I am on here to meet guys like Ron and like Joey, like Eric, like you guys who are all about changing society. Make sure you go on my website, guys. Ron, Joey, go on my website, christianwinners.com. Sign up for my table of 12, bro. Voices like yours are what we need. China TikTok promotes STEM. Yes. 100% true about yes. All of them, bro. All of it. And again, we're all being played in this system and we don't realize, man, our authority. We don't realize our authority. 2 things men don't realize: their authority and our purpose. And number 3, our gifting. We're bogged down. We're too entertained. See that y'all, we all on the same note right here. Entertainment. Yes. Chain brains. Yes. We're all so stuck in entertainment. Again, I'm not against sports. I love boxing. I can watch boxing every day. I watch something about boxing every day. But you know what? I stop every now and then Not even every now and then. I stop enough to watch. Hey, let me see what's going on over here. Let me see what's going on over here. Let me see what's going on in society. Let me see what's going on in the world. Right? Don't get so distracted. That's the goal. Adam was distracted in the garden. He was distracted to the point where he got kicked out of it. He was distracted to the point he got kicked out of it. He was entertained out of his purpose. Right? He was entertained out of his purpose. That's the whole point of Satan, or like my Muslim brothers call him, the shaitan. Right? That's his whole point. His point is to keep you distracted, keep you on some other tip where you can't embrace your own authority, and most of all, embrace your ability to speak into this society. Right? I'm going to say it again. You guys are on your way to work, wherever you're going. That shift that you're on, be a man at work, bro. Be a man. Be a man. Have man voice, right? Look for problems to solve. Look for hurts to heal. That's where you are. That's what you're supposed to do. But we can't walk around distracted. And we cannot allow social media to keep on feeding our communities division. Let me see. Ryan. I said all the time, this younger generation is overstimulated, yes, and constantly doused with information at a fast pace. They can't even digest it, yes. They're addicted to excitement. That's it. That's where Satan wanted Eve. She was addicted to excitement, not instruction. Addicted to excitement, hating instruction, bro. That's where we are. I'm gonna get back into this. I got to do a part 2 on this, man. I have to do a part 2. I just have to. I have to do a part 2 on this because I got to get back into these toxic gender society stereotypes. I got to get back into with Ron. You jumped on this heavy, exploiting relationships for entertainment. The soft life, yes. And this is the last one we really got to get into, and I'll get into. Let me do it right now. Encouraging public criticism of partners. Right? People now look how much we know about everybody's relationship. Right? It's almost dope to sell your partner out in the media now. And from the wealthiest of the wealthy are doing it to the poorest of the poor. It's almost dope now to tell people how bad somebody is. People are encouraged to air their grievances publicly, right? It started with celebrities. Now you got people who ain't got 2 cents to rub together, still on social media, talking about their man, talking about their lady. That's the whole point. It's a public division. That's why it's the 5th point. Because the 5th point is I want to divide you inwardly. I want to have all these skirmishes inwardly. I want to have all these battles inwardly. And then the end of it, I want you to do it publicly. I want you to go on and say that black women are trash. I want you to go on and say black men are trash. I want white women to go on and say white men aren't faithful. They just want money and they don't like being married. That's the whole goal. The whole goal is division. And again, it's not race. It's for every race to feel divided from their people so that we all can feel divided from our people. And anytime you have a divided people, you have a highway for chaos. You have a highway built for destruction in the middle of chaos. I'll say it, and I said in the beginning, and I'll say it as I close. There was no church in the Garden of Eden. There was no president. There was no Senate. There was no House of Representatives. It was a family. And a family is the strongest entity that can ever be built and is indestructible if you have a man to lead it correctly. Don't allow yourself, if you're a single man, don't buy into this stuff about division and how you don't need nobody and don't need nothing. Yes, you do. You need a woman. I'm going to do another podcast too, because I want to talk about this strong black woman thing too. I ain't going to go into it heavy right now, but I'm going to tell you right now, you need a strong black woman in this society. I think even the concept of the strong black woman have been mixed up. You better have a strong black woman who doesn't use her strength to destroy you. She uses her strength to protect you. Do you want a weak black woman? See what society does. We spun this strong black woman. She got an attitude. Blah, 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 blah. And yes, there are a ton of women that have a terrible freaking attitude of every race. But you better have a strong man. You better have a strong woman, Look at Proverbs. I'm gonna do it. Jeez, I keep on telling, man. I talk to y'all and have 1,000 podcast ideas, but I'm gonna put out my book, Epistles to My Sons. I'm republishing that, Epistles to My Sons. I'll probably change the title to Letters to My Sons, but I'm putting that out again. I walk through the whole book of Proverbs. Now y'all know, peep this before y'all go. 31 books in the book of Proverbs, 31 books, and there's 30 lessons each thing. And the Proverbs was a letter that a father was writing to his son. And it was instructing them. If you walk through the book of Proverbs, he's instructing them on money and friendship and how to deal with people, how to deal with enemy, how to deal with lawsuit, how to deal with money, how to deal with government. I think every man needs to read the book of Proverbs. In fact, I wouldn't mind coming on here and just breaking down the book of Proverbs chapter by chapter to draw the wisdom out of it, not in a Bible study form, but draw the wisdom out of it. Don't be scared of these wisdom books. Yeah, to draw the wisdom out, because 31 books, each book he gives them a piece of wisdom. Boom, 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 boom. He gets to the 30th point. Boom, he gives them the 30th. And the 31, and y'all heard this, some of y'all who come from a Christian religion background, you heard about the Proverbs 31. And women have had conferences. They hijacked it. They made it theirs. Proverbs 31 wasn't for women at all. Proverbs 31 was written to that son. And the reason why it is the last book of the 31 books is because what the father is saying is, if you gain wisdom and know-how on all these principles I taught you, if you marry the wrong woman, it will all be lost, because that's the power of a woman who cannot control her seductive nature. This is why you got to watch who you get with, my brother, because you can build your whole life over 20 years and it be destroyed in a moment because you chose the wrong woman. She'll make you throw your grace away. Be careful building your life and then handing yourself to the wrong woman. She'll destroy you. The scripture also talks about the kind of woman whose arms are beautiful. She makes her face. She has beautiful makeup on and she sits there, but her feet are bound to the rocks of hell. And all you see is her arms and her beautiful face, and you don't see where she's rooted. Oh man, yo boy, y'all better, I'll be on here for 2 hours. let me look in the chat. Yes, Anthony. The Civil War is between the people. Yes. Let me see. Joey Smith. I'm a history buff. Because I understand there's nothing on earth you can talk about without talking about the history of it. Yes, but when you get into the history of most things that are prevalent or popular today, it's nothing new. You're right. When you know where you come from, you know where you're going. Absolutely. When you know where you're going, anything path can take. Yes, I agree. Yes, sir. I agree. Good point, Joey. Ryan, you absolutely need strong black women. Absolutely, you need a strong black woman. Behind every great man is the greater woman. It's documented all throughout history. Joey, I'm gonna correct one thing. Behind every, it's beside, and I'm gonna tell you it's beside, not because it's some, oh, she beside you, not behind you. No. It's beside, because look at where God took Eve from. God took the rib of Adam to make Eve. He came from her. She came from his side. And I believe it was purpose that God would do that, to show man where she belongs, closest to his heart, not emotionally, but she protects, that rib protects the most precious organs in a man's body. See, this is the thing, bro. This is why we can't knock people, because much of the stuff we talk about on this podcast, people don't know. It's the miseducation of our society. It's an ignorance. It's an ignorance, right? Hey, Joey, thanks for letting me share that with you, bro. Humbly, I share it, man. Thank you for humbly receiving it. Yeah, bro. It's a trick against society. I'm gonna keep on pushing this envelope. Till somebody get mad. I'm gonna push this envelope, man. Listen, until somebody gets mad enough to go to war with me. I don't care what it is. I want to be the legend, and I want you guys to be the legends of society today. There's no voice. We need man voice. We need you. Yes. Let me see, Ryan. Black ignorance is the Ron. It's a window right there next to me, bro. You almost made me jump out of it because that's a fact. That's a fact. But you know where the ignorance starts, bro? This ignorance we talk about is $1 billion. It starts with the division of the family. You know why? Because if I got a thought and I'm so divided from my woman and I feel like she has no wisdom, then there's nobody to counterbalance my thought. Same thing for the woman. If we break up the relationship, then there's no voice there to counterbalance the thought. That's the whole point of trying to separate societies and separate families and separate kids from there, because there's no wisdom there. Right? You crazy. But there's nothing there to counterbalance the thought. It's $1 billion industry. That's why the hood is not broke. I was doing work in Kensington, right? I was doing work in Kensington years ago, with the addicts and things like that. I had a connection at Gerard, where the woman at the rehab there, she would take anybody I brought, even if they didn't have beds. So I was going down to Kensington and literally, and I'm getting people off the street. I'm sitting there sitting on the street, talking to these people who wants to change their life, right? And there were times where I met this one woman who she wanted to change. She wanted to get out the street. So I had to actually, and you know, some of y'all will curse me for this because you don't understand, but this woman was on heroin. And so in order to get her calm enough, I had to go get her some heroin to calm her down enough to get her to the rehab. I'm talking about real work here. This was real work. And do you know, in our conversation, she told me, she said, brother, I do a couple bundles a day. Now, you know, I smoked a little weed, but I don't know nothing about heroin and what a bundle is, right? At the end of the day, her bundle was costing her, I think, upwards of $4,000 or $2,500 a week. She was spending $2,500 a week on heroin in Kensington. That's when it really hit me that, to your point, Ron, that the hood and the ghettos aren't broke. What society did, or the higher ups did, was if we break the mind of the people in the hood, then they won't see the value that they have right there. If someone can produce $2,500 a week to get high, it's plenty of money right there in the hood. She didn't go to Beverly Hills and come back. She stayed in Kensington and grabbed that kind of money however she had to get it. That means it's there. It's there. And that's the whole point of keeping us ignorant of what we have, right? Keeping us ignorant of what we have and keeping our relationships broken where we can't protect together what we have. We're stealing from each other. Yes. Let me see. Joey, ignorance is bliss to those who benefit from. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The goal is to keep us ignorant. And I believe this, again, I believe it's a concerted effort. I don't believe it's a mistake. I don't believe it's a mistake that we have all these podcasts and all these shows that's tearing people apart, but we don't have them bringing people together. And the ones that are assigned, or the ones that are backed in a big way, are the ones that bring division. Now I'm gonna say this. If you look at American history, the only people that were ever killed in American history, as far as voices, were voices that were unifying. No one was ever shot or assassinated in America that was driving division. Martin Luther King had to go because he was driving unity of all races. Malcolm X did not have any threat on his life until he went to Mecca and came back and started talking about, wait a minute, I saw all kinds of Muslims. Once he came back and he was no longer on the hate of the white society, he had to go. Anytime you talk unity, you gotta go, because this country is not built on unity. It was built on division from the very beginning. and any man willing to unify, right? Even stuck. We even get stuck in just trying to unify the black community because I'm a black man. That's not going to move the needle. Unify the world community because I'm a global citizen. That's why I said that this is so important to teach. The concerted effort to tear apart the family, and someone has to speak against it. Yes, let me see. Ron, assassins were to curb unification. Absolutely. Ron, I know Ron. So I talked to Ron, some of you on here. Ron, why do you think that the church world did to me what they did to me when I spoke up against the ills of church society? Right? They tried to assassinate me without the gun. Why? Because I was trying to unify the church. I was trying to break down all these denominations and all the things that have torn us apart. And I start teaching about the principles and the things and getting away from all this excitement and running into instruction so we can have unification on how to change society. When I said, can you imagine? Because I was the one to step back from being stuck in the bubble and saying, wait a minute, there's a world we got to touch. There's a society we got to touch. I was trying to unify the people around a mission. And that's why everybody hated me. That's why preachers hated me. That's why they all spoke against me. Right? We were cool as long as everybody was getting their little offering and all that kind of nonsense. But then here I come with my nonsense, raising up against it all and saying, wait a minute, we're not unifying anybody. That we're taking more from people than we're ever giving them. That's when everybody rose up against me. Anytime you try to push the unification of anything is when there's a threat. Well, I tell you what, my brothers. You think I'm just on here in the morning because I want to shoot a podcast or because I'm trying to come monetize? Man, all that small work. I'm out here because I'm trying to become a voice to leadership, a voice to the brokenhearted, a voice to the world as a father. That's my prayer. I don't want to be a CEO. I don't want to be a COO. I don't want to be this and that and all these terms. My goal, my brother, and I want y'all to pray for me because I'm taking a risk with my life, but I've been through so much that is worth taking. I want to be a father to many nations like Abraham was, to be able to protect the people from the spiritual things that are hidden behind me. I want to be able to reveal to society what's going on. A father, one that cares, one that gives without taking anything. That's who I want to be. So y'all pray for me. That's why I'm doing the Dear Brother podcast. That's why I'm doing the Christian Activist podcast. The church needs a father. The world needs a father. Men need fathers. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to be a father and raise up other fathers, raise up the father in you. Even if some of you don't have kids, don't mean there's not a father in you. Anytime you're a man, there's wisdom that people can tap in that makes you a father. It makes you responsible for raising society. Let me see. Used to always say people know how to do yes, but weren't doing the real yes. They didn't want to do the real work. Anytime you stand up to bring unity, why do you think Jesus got killed? Unified. He wanted to unify the people. He wanted to take people back from religion and make them a mass of people. They said, oh, you got to go. Now, I know we can get into all the spiritual ramifications of Jesus' death, but when you deal with the earthly reason, the earthly reason was because he was unifying people. Yo, you got to go. I bet y'all ain't know this one. Lazarus, y'all remember Lazarus in the scripture? And Lazarus got up from the dead. Yeah. Guess what? The part that people don't go on to teach is that after Lazarus was raised from the dead, he was sitting in the house eating, and all of the people came again. They were all looking in the windows, and all the major players in society came and also looked through the windows, and they said, oh, he's alive and he's sitting up there eating, and everybody's seeing that this man has come back and he's eating. They said, we got to kill him again because his freedom is unifying the people. Joey, I appreciate you too, my brother. Man, you too, man. Thank you for tuning in, man. I want to thank you, brother. I want to thank you, Joey. I want to thank all of y'all, man, for tuning in, hanging out with me in the morning. Tell some other brothers, tell some real guys, man. We talk in the morning. You know, most of these men is up in the morning. You know, let's talk, let's share. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Share with some men. You know, go buy my book. If you haven't got my book yet, go get the book. Amazon.com. I'll be doing a lot of work with this. And fill the table today, October 14th through November, once a week. I'll be meeting with a table of 12 men. Okay. I'll be meeting with a table of 12 men. Go on there. Lock in your seat right now. It's free. Lock in your seat. I'm going to be dealing with men, resurrecting purpose, resurrecting your thoughts, seeing where you want to go and how you can affect change in the community around you. I'm raising up beast. I'm raising up beast that will change society, unafraid beast that's ready to change society. If you rolling, I'm rocking. Go on my website right now, christianwinners.com. Sign up for that table of 12. Let's go. Happy Friday, y'all. Have a great day. All my guys, family, love y'all. Stay blessed. Stay powerful.